Hi everyone, so it's time for another favourites video, although I feel like I only just filmed my last favourites video, so this one might be a little bit short and sweet. There's not too many products, although whenever I say that it always ends up being really long, so we'll just see how it goes. So we're halfway through the year now, not quite sure how that happened. It feels like Christmas was only yesterday, but I think June itself has been a favourite for me because June is my birthday month and it's always a good one, and I had an amazing time for my birthday last week. I actually managed to vlog some of it. I went to London and I went to the Harry Potter studio tours, which was incredibly exciting, and I went to Wimbledon as well, so if you haven't seen that I will link it below for you. Now I don't really tend to be all that negative in my videos and talk about things that I didn't like or didn't get on with just because I feel there's not really much point mentioning them, but there were two things that I used this month that I was kind of excited about and really wanted to try, and they actually turned out being really bad, I guess you could say. So I will show you them quickly because they do lead on to another favourite, but these were the Dove Advanced Hair Series Oxygen Moisture Shampoo and Conditioner, and I saw these, I thought they were quite new, they were on a new stand in Boots and they just looked really exciting as shampoo and conditioner can be, but I was really interested in them, and they're supposed to be very moisturising. It says gentle cleansing, giving natural volume, moisture for instant smoothness without weighing hair down, so moisture and volume is definitely something that I look for in my hair products. On the first use they felt absolutely fine. My hair felt weightless and volumised, which is what I wanted. Not particularly moisturised, but it didn't feel too awful. But then after I continued using it, probably for about a week or a week and a half, so that's about 3 or 4 washes on how much I wash my hair, and I think they actually just ruined the condition of my hair. It was dry and brittle, it was like snapping off at the ends, it was just so dehydrated that it couldn't cope. It was static, it was frizzy, it was just not good hair. So those, I was just so disappointed because I was really excited to try them. But anyway, this isn't a disappointing products video. The reason I'm talking about those is because I went back into Boots and I had to find something that was going to fix my hair, and then I saw these and I picked them up, and these are the L'Oreal Riche No Sulphates Nourishing and Taming Shampoo and Conditioner. I have actually used these before, probably about a year ago or so, and I used them for a good couple of months until they ran out, and I did really like them, and they are probably the most moisturising shampoo conditioner combo I've ever come across. And then me being me, used them up and didn't repurchase them just because I like to try out some different things that probably end up being worse for my hair, so I knew these would work and, you know, how to get it back to normal, and literally within one wash it felt like my hair was just moisturised and rehydrated and it just felt better. So I've been using these for the rest of the month, and I think my hair is probably pretty much back to normal. It still feels a little bit dry on the ends, but these have just absolutely saved it. So I will stop kind of moving around from shampoo and conditioner. I will stick to these because they are so good. I have a few summer themed favourites as well to show you because the Bare Legs did come out this month for the first time in probably about a year. They saw the light of day. Very pasty, very pale, but there are a few things that I used beforehand to kind of get them summer ready. And the first one is a body scrub, and this doesn't really look like a body scrub, but this is the Frank scrub, and I think it was on Instagram that I first saw this. They have a really interesting Instagram, lots of barely dressed girls wearing Frank body scrub. You can go and find that out for yourself, but I was really interested by this because it's basically made up of ground coffee, and I am a bit of a coffee lover at the moment. I never used to drink the stuff at all, but I've got into it recently, which is probably quite bad for me, but never mind, it gets me up in the morning. So there's 3 different scents, different kinds, and I bought 2 of them. These are the original one, which is literally just coffee, and then they have the cacao version, I want to say cacao, which is a chocolate version as well, which just had me sold as soon as I read chocolate. And this basically has everything the original has, but, you know, extra chocolatey goodness added in, and these just smell incredible. You know, I like my good smelling products, but oh, it just smells like chocolate coffee. It's amazing. I think this is my favourite of the 2 just purely for the scent, but it's the scrub as well that I love. You basically take a handful of it and it's dry, it's not got any wetness to it, and then you kind of massage it into damp skin, and it's just such a good scrub. And I do find with some body scrubs, as soon as you put them on, they tend to sort of fall off into the shower or into the bath, and they don't really, you know, work into your skin that well, but this just stays really scrubby for a really long time, if that makes sense. They do leave a little bit of a residue on your skin as well, which is nothing too sticky or greasy. It's just moisturising enough that you don't have to use a body lotion afterwards, which is great because you can skip that step. And the only thing about these though is they are based in Australia, I think, so you kind of have to order them and pay the shipping for that. It's not too expensive at all. I think buying one of them works out to about £10 including shipping. But my friend actually ordered these at the same time I did, and she had to pay a customs fee, and I didn't, and we live pretty close to each other, so I'm not sure how that worked out. So you may be hit with a little bit of a customs charge, but I think they're really worth it. They're great products. Now, I'm definitely a bit of a novice when it comes to fake tanning. I think I can count on 2 hands the amount of times I've ever used fake tan in my life, and not all of them were successful. So I kind of stay clear of the full-on fake tans unless I have something really special to go to. And what I actually prefer using is an instant wash-off one, so you can have a bit of colour for the day and then just wash it off at the end of the night. No streaks, no mistakes. And one that I've been using quite a lot recently is the Rimmel Instant Tan Sun Shimmer, and this is definitely a throwback to my secondary school days. I think I had tubes and tubes of this in my bedroom and probably used way too much of it. This is the matte version, which I always prefer to go for because I find the sparkly ones are a bit too glittery and intense and in your face, and this just looks a lot more natural. And it's also the water resistant one too, so if you do get any splashes of water on your legs, or if it does start raining, because in England you never know, I usually just put a little bit of this onto a tanning mitt and then just buff it into my skin, and I find that's the easiest way to use it. So a couple of months ago I bought a few skincare bits from Chapman, and I think I mentioned them in a Space and K haul back then, but I really wanted to try them out and test them for quite a long time and see how they worked for my skin, because they were quite expensive, so I wanted to make sure they were really worth the money. And one of them I'm really not that sure about. My skin didn't really like it when I put it on, and I just haven't really got to grips with using it, so I will carry on and persevere with that. But the other I absolutely love, and it's the Skin Assist Intense Hydrating Booster, and this is one of Chapman's serums. I think there's 3 in the range, but it's just absolutely beautiful. And I did mention in the Space and K haul that I did, where I talked about this, that it was very similar to Hydraluron from Indeed Labs, which is one of my all-time favourite products. It's got a very similar, almost gel-like consistency to it, and it literally sinks in as soon as you put it on your skin, and then you put your moisturiser on top, and it just helps to lock all the moisture in. And I honestly think this is probably just 10 times better than Hydraluron. It's just an extremely souped up version of that, and it is a lot more expensive, unfortunately. So Hydraluron's still great for a slightly more budget friendly option, but this I just love. I think it's made my skin so much softer, and it just feels plumped and nourished, and I feel like my makeup goes on so much better as well when I'm actually using this. And I've kind of been using it more in the mornings, and then I use my Estee Lauder Advanced Night Repair in the evening, but then I have been skipping that sometimes and just using this day and night because I just love it so much. So that has been one of my absolute favourites this month. So moving on to a few makeup favourites, and the first one I have is the Max Factor Facefinity All Day Primer. And I'm so forgetful when it comes to primers. I never remember to put them on, but I think now that we're coming into summer, my skin is just a little bit oilier, my makeup's not lasting as long, so I definitely need to wear one. I don't really have that much luck with primers. They seem to be either too slippery and silicone based, or they're not mattifying enough for my skin, or then they're too mattifying and dry it out. And I think because I have sort of combination skin with oily patches and dryness as well, it's kind of hard to find the right balance for it. But this one is nice because it's very thin, it's very silky, it's not too slippery and silicone feely and too like gel-like. It's almost like a thin lotion, but it just goes on really nicely. It feels quite hydrating once it's on, so I let it sink in for, 30 seconds, a minute or so, but it does take away any shine and mattifies down any kind of greasy areas, but not so much that your skin looks very kind of dry and very dull. I wouldn't say it lasts all day like the name suggests, but then I don't think I've ever found a product that lasts from 8 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock at night without having to be touched up, so I'm happy with this one. And I think it's a really good price as well for kind of a more drugstore-y type primer. It's under £10 I'm sure, so that's been a definite favourite this month. I talked quite a lot in last month's favourites about bronzers and warming up my skin and just embracing a bit of a summer glow, and I think it was Benefit's Hoola that I mentioned then was my favourite bronzer of last month, but I've actually found one I think I'd slightly prefer, although I'm still not sure, but it's the Body Shop's Honey Bronzer, and I actually used this in my last Get Ready With Me video, and it was the first time I'd used it actually on camera while I was filming it, so you kind of got my first impressions, and I did really like it. It's just a matte bronzer. It's quite a pale shade. I have the shade number 2. I think there is one lighter as well, but it's rare to find a bronzer that is this sort of pale colour. I think it's nice because you can really build it up and you can't ever put too much on. It's really finely milled, very smooth, and it just blends seamlessly onto the skin, so another definite bronzer favourite and more of a budget friendly option as well, this one. And then this wouldn't be a proper monthly favourites video without mentioning a lipstick, so I have this one here. This is what I'm wearing on my lips today, and it's MAC's Vegas Vault, and I've had this for such a long time, but I always find myself bringing it out during the summer when the sun comes out and it's just a bit warmer. It's a really pretty, fun kind of corally summer shade, so that I've been wearing a lot. The one thing I find with it is it bleeds so badly, and I don't have particularly wrinkly lips or anything like that. It just tends to kind of bleed out within an hour or so of wearing it, so I make sure I'm always wearing a lip liner with this one. And the MAC lip liner in Lasting Sensation actually matches with this perfectly, so those two I've kind of been teaming together quite a lot. And those are all my June favourites, so I hope you enjoyed watching that. Let me know what your favourite product was this month as well, and I will see you all soon.